Hey Encino, looking for low prices on grocery favorites? Find them at your refreshed Amazon Fresh grocery store. Save big with new deals updated weekly. And if you're a Prime member, save even more with 10% off hundreds of items in store. Head to amazon.com/grocery store opening to find weekly deals, info on upcoming events, and more. Visit your refreshed Amazon Fresh grocery store in Encino on Ventura Boulevard.
Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Los Angeles, the Win Without Competing show with Dr. Arlene Barrow, host and creator of the Right Fit Method, the key to professional and personal success. Now, let's join Dr. Arlene.
Thank you, Virgil. Are you branded to hire? Find out. Rate your brand 0 to 10. Getting a new job is easier than you think. Branding is the key to capturing that job. But job seekers are not successfully branding themselves. Why? Many job seekers assume that their resumes will work if they are professionally prepared. Not necessarily so. Your resume is an ad which must present a distinct, recognizable brand. When employers review your resume, they spend 30 seconds or less. They must grasp the significance of your brand in a splash to determine its potential impact on the success of their companies. Their thumbs go up or down fast. Interview, no interview, or next resume, please. Do you know that your brand has two sides like a coin, a written broadcast and a verbal broadcast? I'll talk more about this shortly when you rate your brand. By the end of this radio show, you will have diagnosed the strength of your brand and what needs to be fixed. Getting interviews and job offers are achievable with my Right Fit Method branding strategies. But first, I want to share how my passion for branding began. When I was a child, my dad taught me to stand out. To do that, I learned to set the standard for other children in a variety of areas such as communication. As a result, they saw me as a role model and wanted to be like me. As I was growing up, I continued to set high standards for myself and for those around me. Then I learned to focus on right fits, not the best. To figure out right fits, I created blueprints of right fits and made decisions using those blueprints. I had blueprints for everything, including the right fit friends. As an adult, I created a distinct professional brand in healthcare for myself and broadcasted that brand flawlessly. This is what I did. As an employee, I visualized a new position within the organization, pitched it, and convinced the employer that I was the one right fit for that position. Then I would always create an innovative program or project and successfully pitch that. Over and over, I was first in what I did, which included holding positions that were reserved primarily for physicians. As a UCLA-trained PhD with distinction for my doctoral dissertation on creativity, I had no difficulty overcoming the potential objection that I was not a physician. I mastered the art of branding and made major contributions in my field. To learn more about my brand, Read about me at winwithoutcompeting.com. How did I begin branding others? I entered the world of retained executive search and founded Barrow Global Search, Inc., of which I am the CEO. We are located on the west side of Los Angeles near UCLA. My firm is unique. When we conduct a search, we present one candidate, the right fit candidate, and close the search. At WebMD, I placed 40 candidates, yes, 40, with the founding editor-in-chief of WebMD, using my right fit method. Meticulously branding each candidate was an essential component of my success. Recognizing the importance of my method for candidates, employees, employers, and entrepreneurs, I wrote Win Without Competing just for you. The founding editor-in-chief of WebMD wrote the foreword. To read that, visit winwithoutcompeting.com. The goal of the book is to teach you to do what I do. As a job seeker, you can present yourself as the one right fit to an employer if you learn my method. After job seekers started reading my book, Win Without Competing, nominated for a Business Book Award, I started receiving phone calls from across the country. The readers asked me to work with them to help them master my right fit method. After I started coaching, I established the coaching division at Barrow Global Search. And I must say, it's been a very interesting journey to work with candidates from different backgrounds, different industries, and different approaches and lifestyles. Now, let's rate your brand to give you the information that you need to succeed in your job search. I created a branding rating scale for you to evaluate your brand from 0 to 10. To do that, place your resume in front of you so that you can look at it to answer some of my questions. Imagine that you are an employer who is evaluating your resume for a specific position. Remember, you're the seller and the employer is the buyer. Write the numbers 1 to 10. Next to each number, jot down T if the statement is true and F if the statement is false. Or go find my app at the App Store, listed under the business category, then record your answers using the app. Note that some of the questions relate to your written broadcast and others to your verbal broadcast. Listen carefully to each question and respond thoughtfully. Question 1. In a 30-second glance, my resume clearly differentiates me from other interviewees who do what I do and explains why I am the right fit for the position or positions that I want. Again, in a 30-second glance, my resume clearly differentiates me from other interviewees who do what I do and explains why I am the right fit for the position or positions that I want. Question 2. My resume eliminates obvious employer objections to hire me. Think about what I'm saying carefully before you make a determination. Whether your resume eliminates obvious employer objections to hire you. Again, mark true or false. Question 3. My resume has no distractors such as extraneous information, charts and graphs, or unusual layouts. carefully examine that resume and make that determination, true or false. Question 4. The resume has been consistently successful in helping me motivate employers to interview me. Notice the verbiage, consistently successful. Question 5. At the first in-person interview with employers, I can convince them to hire me, contingent upon reference checking and perhaps meeting a few more employees. Remember, at the first in-person interview, you're able to convince them to hire you. Question 6. During interviews, employers focus on why I am the right fit for the position, not on what's wrong with me. During interviews, employers focus on why I am the right fit for the position, not on what's wrong with me. Question 7. I am comfortable taking charge of the interview because I know what to say about myself to match the position and what questions to ask to demonstrate that I am the one right fit. Question 8. At interviews, if I learn that a particular position may not be the right fit for me, I try to fix the objection if possible, or graciously withdraw my candidacy if I cannot. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. At interviews, if I learn that a particular position may not be the right fit for me, I try to fix the objection if possible, or graciously withdraw my candidacy if I cannot. Question 9. I do not make assumptions about what employers think or expect. I do not make assumptions about what employers think or expect. Question 10. I understand that the questions that employers ask may not be the real questions, and I can read between the lines to identify the real questions and answer them. Again, I understand that the questions that employers ask may not be the real questions, and I can read between the lines to identify the real questions and answer them. Okay, we're all set. Let's see how you did. Question 1. In a 30-second glance, my resume clearly differentiates me from other interviewees who do what I do and explains why I am the right fit for the position or positions that I want. Answer. Employers must be able to digest your brand in 30 seconds or less and determine the next step. Interview or no interview. They will not spend time to figure it out. It's up to you to present that 30-second brand. True. Question 2. My resume eliminates obvious employer objections to hiring me. Answer. Employers search for what's wrong with a candidate. Do not present them with objections to hiring you. It's easier to eliminate objections than to overcome them. Let's find those objections. A common objection is short stints. Do you have short stints? Or perhaps you have something else that is obvious or could be obvious to an employer. The answer is true. Question 3. My resume has no distractors, such as extraneous information, charts and graphs, or unusual layouts. Answer. Employers cannot digest your brand in 30 seconds if you have distractors. Eliminate them. Those distractors become objections. Frankly, many resumes make me dizzy. If I can't figure out someone's brand quickly, I too look at the next resume. And that's, of course, what employers will do. Remember, it's up to you to demonstrate that brand so that the employer will quickly recognize it. Question 4. The resume has been consistently successful in helping me motivate employers to interview me. Answer. Your resume must have its own legs. That's right, its own legs. Stand on its own, especially if someone else is presenting you to an employer. I was recently working with a coaching client, and he initially presented his resume, the one that he had created, to a search firm. And then he and I worked together. We created a stellar branding package. He took that package, gave it to the search firm, asked them to resubmit it to the same employer, and what was the result? They wanted to see him immediately. They had forgotten about the other resume. They didn't recognize him. What happened next? He went to the interview. Throughout the interview, they were busy reading to him from his resume. So you can see that the brand, his brand, excited them. Question 5. At the first in-person interview with employers, I can convince them to hire me, contingent upon reference checking and perhaps a few more employees to meet with. Answer. You should be able to convince employers to hire you at the first interview. If you cannot, then the probability of you getting the job decreases as employers continue to compare and contrast candidates or decide to eliminate the job. I cannot stress enough the importance of convincing the employer at the first interview that you are the one right fit. Question 6. During interviews, employers focus on why I am the right fit for the position, not on what's wrong with me. Answer. Employers excel. That is, again, I'm going to repeat it. They excel at finding objections because they do not want to make hiring mistakes. It is your responsibility to focus employers on why you are the right fit, not on what's wrong with you. Do not let employers distract you and themselves from focusing on why they should hire you. You must manage the process. Here's an outstanding example of managing the process. In my book, Win Without Competing, I tell the story of the imprisoned candidate. I'll share that with you now. I presented the one right fit candidate to a prestigious medical center. They were very excited about him. He was at the interview in a car with the Vice President of Human Resources driving to a dinner that was being held in his honor. However, he was distraught. Why? The VP of HR kept badgering him with a question, which is, what are you currently earning? He knew, and knew very well, that I made it very clear that I did not want him to disclose that information. she wouldn't give up. He finally said that he had been told by Dr. Arlene that he should not share that information. What happened next? She finally gave up. And when I did present him with the offer, with a $25,000 sign-on bonus, which he didn't expect, and a salary that was significantly larger than what he was currently making, I heard a dead silence. He was in shock. He thought it was a joke. But then I told him, remember what I had said. If you do not share this information, you will be rewarded. And so that is the story of the imprisoned candidate. Question 7. I am comfortable taking charge of the interview because I know what to say about myself to match the position and what questions to ask to demonstrate that I am the one right fit. Answer. You must orchestrate the interview to convince the employer to hire you. What does that really mean? What that really means is you're taking charge of the interview in a clever way, which is not obvious. You're using my strategy, pick, probe, and pitch, to ask questions in order to demonstrate how you match the position. Think carefully about what I'm saying. Have you noticed thus far that the answers to the questions 1 through 7 have been true? Let's see about the rest of the answers. Question 8. At interviews, if I learn that a particular position may not be the right fit for me, I try to fix the objection if possible, or graciously withdraw my candidacy if I cannot. Answer. Do not waste your time continuing to interview for a particular position if you know that you will not take the job for whatever reason. I've met many candidates that continue interviewing when they have no intention of taking the job. Either they do not want to relocate or the compensation is not right. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Question 9. I do not make assumptions about what employers think or expect. Answer. If you make erroneous assumptions about what employers think or expect, you will draw the wrong conclusions and could act inappropriately. Never assume. Always ask questions to find out what is really going on. Here's a common erroneous assumption. You must email your resume to an employer in order to get an interview. Not necessarily so. You can, using my right fit method, call and arrange an interview using my pick, probe, and pitch strategy to convince the employer to meet with you. And then, prior to the interview, email that resume. Think about what I'm saying, how clever that would be if you could do it. Question 10. I understand that the questions that employers ask may not be the real questions, and I can read between the lines to identify the real questions and answer them. Answer. It is imperative to understand the real question that you are being asked. If the question is, what causes you stress at work? Employers are trying to determine whether you have a high tolerance for stress. How should you answer the question? Think about it. Are you going to list all the things that cause you stress at work? Now it's time to brand, to figure out, to rate that brand from 0 to 10. Give yourself 1 point for each correct answer. By now, you've probably figured out that all the questions should be marked true. In order to successfully capture a position, especially in a roller coaster economy, you need to be the flawless fit. That's why you must strive to become a 10. If you got a low score, again, let me say this carefully. If you got a low score, don't despair. What you must say to yourself is, I need to learn how to put my brand in order here. That's what I need to do. If you have no brand, a buried brand, or a barren brand, I will show you how to create a visible brand. Think of my branding rating scale as a diagnostic tool to give you insight into how to succeed in your job search. I can work with you to fix your brand. Remember, your brand has two sides like a coin: the written broadcast, your resume, and the verbal broadcast, the interview. What am I talking about on that interview? How well you pitch yourself using pick, probe, and pitch. Both sides of your brand must have the right results, job offers that you want. Again, both sides of your brand must have the right results, job offers that you want. Now, what do I mean by both sides of your brand? I mean that both sides of your brand must work in concert to have the right results. They're not separate entities. The resume and the interview walk hand in hand. Here's how we can begin the process. Email me the following: the number of each question you marked as false, and your resume. My email address is drbarro@winwithoutcompeting.com. That's Dr. Barrow at winwithoutcompeting.com. To introduce yourself by phone, call 310-443-4277. That's 310-443-4277. I love talking with new people. You might have guessed that I adore cold calling. I implied it earlier in the show. After I review your information, I will contact you to arrange a time with you to speak and to give you feedback. If you need branding help on the interview side, we will discuss this too. I want you to succeed in your job search. To do that, your written and verbal broadcast must have a positive, strong impact on employers to elicit job offers. Let's get you ready to do that. Right now, please be sure to email the information that I requested to drbarrow@winwithoutcompeting.com. My Right Fit method can be your constant companion for career success, happiness, and personal fulfillment. To learn how, read Win Without Competing, which you can pick up on Amazon. Visit winwithoutcompeting.com to hear what others say about my Right Fit method, which can be yours. Be sure to dive into business coaching, career coaching, and motivational speaking. Visit drbarrow.com. Listen to more radio shows about my Right Fit method, which will include branding strategies, of course. Visit barrowglobal.com to find out more about how my company can work with you. I coach clients by phone and in person nationwide. Barrow Global Search is located on Wilshire Boulevard in Westwood, within walking distance of UCLA. It would be my pleasure to meet with you. The time to say goodbye is now. Remember this trigger tip. I visualize the impact of my new brand on employers and imagine my job search success. Thank you for listening to the Win Without Competing show. Goodbye for now, Dr. Arlene.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article? Search engines don't always get it right. But right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. Take control with Reputation Defender. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-811-4975 to speak to an expert.
Naloxone reverses an opioid overdose, even if you mispronounce it. For the record, it's naloxone. Na, like, is naloxone addictive? Nuh-uh. Lox, like naloxone keeps humans safe like locks keep bikes safe. And own, like naloxone can save lives in our very own communities. So let's head down to the pharmacy and pick up some over-the-counter naloxone. And if you forget the name, ask for the nasal spray that reverses overdoses. They'll know what you mean. Get informed at factsfightfentanyl.org, sponsored by the California Department of Public Health.